Oh, hello there. I'm Jimmy Shuker, alongside Albert Chalmers, and this is Radiant Light, a spiritual discussion podcast, episode 13. On today's episode, we're continuing with our martial arts mini-series, and this episode promises to be a truly meditative experience as we utilise our Taoism and explore the martial art of Tai Chi. If you enjoy our content, don't forget to like this episode and subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as whichever platform you listen to your podcasts on. And you can even follow us on Instagram too. Radiant_light_podcast. And with that being said, let's take you to the episode. Albert, something that really piqued my curiosity about Tai Chi is what you said to me about the link between Tai Chi and Taoism. Could we just kind of start from there, please?
So, the way it all started was a monk from Shaolin went to Wudang temple.
Okay.
Like he left, I don't know the exact reasoning or anything, but he left Shaolin temple and became a Taoist and moved to Wudang, which is a more Taoist temple. It's a famous Taoist temple in the same way that Shaolin's a famous Zen temple, right?
So when he did this, is he moving away from martial arts just to zen out, or?
Like I've seen a film called Tai Chi Master, and I don't know how accurate that is because this figure is a legendary figure in history. Like there's no way of knowing exactly why he did this, but he moved away from the harder external Shaolin style and became what's called an internal style. So at Shaolin they have something called Qigong, and Gong Fu and Qigong are like, well, if you see here, there's the yin and yang, the two sides, right?
Yeah.
The Qigong is the internal, and the external is the Gong Fu.
The yang.
Yeah. So if you get hit, that's a Gong Fu, right? But
Right,
if you're
absolutely
doing these Tai Chi movements, it's supposed to cultivate the inner peace.
And presumably that's where the Taoism comes into this.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, inner peace is very much connected with Taoism.
Right.
So are we talking about here that kind of that state of being where you're kind of in flow with the universe is transferable to Tai Chi?
Right. So you know about Zen, their main method of meditation is the Zazen, the sitting. But in Taoism, with the Tai Chi, you have a moving meditation, a flowing. You're never stopping one move. It's going to the next move. And everything you do has an emphasis of bringing a stillness to your mind. You're moving your body, but your mind is still.
Okay, so your mind's in that meditative state.
Yeah, it's called, in Japanese, Mushin. But in Japanese, it's Wushin. But it means no mind.
So my understanding is that Tai Chi is very much an internal martial art that's focused on developing Chi. Chi being the... Okay, let's... Okay, for the benefit of our audience here, Albert, could you just explain what Chi is? And then we'll talk about how we can channel Chi in Tai Chi.
So Chi is kind of like the life force of the universe. It's what gives you your life. It's like energy, but really it's kind of the best way to I've heard it explained is that if you're breathing, you're cultivating your chi, but it's kind of like what's that thing that's causing you to breathe in the first place? Right?
So an even deeper link beyond.
Yeah, because everyone's breathing all the time. And most of the time you're not thinking about the breath. It's just happening. all the time.
Yeah, it's just happening naturally without us even thinking about it.
Why? The more you think about it, the more you realize that it's like a process we don't understand. Like, why are we breathing? Why is oxygen flowing?
Yeah, the deeper thought of where does this come from? Where does this come from?
And then getting to the bottom of that, realizing this is just what it is. Like, we're all part of the universe. Like, that's how deep it goes. And then
that we're all part of the Tao.
Yeah, the Tao is a huge part of Tai Chi. I believe that there are the forms of Tai Chi and you learn them, but you're never supposed to focus on the forms. It's just kind of a means to an end, like how to get there.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel at this stage I just need to address the elephant in the room here. We're talking about channeling Chi.
Yeah.
And Chi is even in the name of the game here, Tai Chi.
Okay.
So what's the let's start from there. What's the definition here?
The definition of the term Tai Chi Chuan or Tai Chi Quan, it means supreme ultimate fist.
What is the difference between Chinese boxing and what we see these young men doing at 8 o'clock every morning on the rooftops in the parks called shadow boxing, which they're always...
Well, actually, you see, that is part of Chinese boxing.
It is.
There are so many schools.
Everybody here
schools.
seems to be, going like this all the time.
Well, that's good. I'm very glad. I'm very glad to see that, because at least somebody is caring for their own body, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good sign. Well, it's a kind of a slow form of exercise, which is called Tai Chi Chuan. I'm speaking Mandarin just now.
Yeah.
Cantonese, Tai Chi Kun, okay?
I see.
And it's more of an exercise for the elderly, not so much for the
Give
young.
me a demonstration. Show me. Can you do it, a little bit of it? Just so
hand-wise, it's very slow.
Oh, is it?
And you push it out, but all the time you are keeping the continuity going. Bending, stretching, everything. You just keep it moving.
It's like a ballet dancer there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to them, you see, the idea is running water never grows stale. So you got to just keep on flowing.
Yeah, it's still a martial art, technically, but you're not actually fighting with it. I mean, there are applications of how you could use it in self-defense, but it's never really used as like a fighting sport, a combat sport. It's definitely more about the meditation as opposed to Kung Fu, which is, they would use that in like a more combative state at times. They're training it to fight, kind of.
So when you say that Tai Chi is not a fighting sport and it's more about the meditation, like, what is it for? In what circumstance would I be using Tai Chi?
I mean, the joke is kind of like, yeah, let the men do the fighting and let the old Chinese lady in the park do the Tai Chi.
Okay.
That's kind of the joke, but we know in martial arts that Tai Chi can have benefits like mobility and strength. Like when you're older, right? You're not going to be doing Kung Fu forever, right?
Okay,
like
if it's hard hitting. So.
Yeah, you're not going to be like able physically to keep that up. So what you do, Taoism is more catered to the seniors of the Chinese culture in that sense. It's like you've already played your role in society. You want to now experience the even deeper meaning of life. Or not meaning, but just sort of like, what's it all about, Like, why are we even here? Connect with the universe, right?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth then. Be more in tune with the universe, I was going to say.
You're just kind of slowing things down to a point where it's slower than you would feel comfortable with. It's not like hustle and bustle like we're used to.
Presumably you've emptied your mind so much that you are comfortable with it.
Exactly. You realize that the pace of life is so much slower than we take granted for, because we take it for granted as humans that my schedule is I got to do this every day. And they're like, no, look at the grass growing. It's slow. Look at the wind. It's flowing in a slower way.
It's happening slow, but everything is being achieved.
Yeah. So you can see the connection.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that example you just gave of, kind of stressing over a schedule, really you don't need to feel that way. The world is not going to suddenly fall apart if you miss your appointment by 5 minutes.
Yeah.
People will get over it.
Yeah. It makes things more manageable. Like, I think to do Tai Chi even while you're training other martial arts can be hugely beneficial. It's actually been scientifically proven to help with so many things. Like when you're getting older, when you're young, it doesn't matter because you need to use the muscles in your legs and you need to use your breath.
So is Tai Chi kind of like an art that you could learn to become more spiritually in tune as opposed to preparing yourself for a fight?
I mean, compare it maybe to yoga or something.
Because as you're talking about it, I'm imagining myself kind of like in the back garden with the nature and beauty all around and just slowly expressing an art form.
That's the place to do it. You don't have to go to the dojo or the gym. You're mostly going to do that in a forest or... Remember Sean told the story about the monk on the cliff?
Yeah.
That's like the perfect environment for that.
Okay.
Which is why we joke about the old Chinese lady in the park. It's like, dude, she's probably the most woke, enlightened person you've met, but you never gave her the credit because you thought, oh, she wouldn't know how to fight or something. You're kind of putting your own insecurity on it. That's what I find people do, especially like martial artists. It's like Tai Chi gets a little bit of it's seen as like a joke martial art because the people are coming at it from well, you couldn't fight. You couldn't win a fight. So it's not worth anything. But it's like...
So the critics would say that you can't win a fight with Tai Chi.
Yeah, that's the knock on it. But it's like, yeah, but you're not trying to win a fight with Tai Chi. You're winning this inside. You're winning the battle of basically any kind of mental illness. You could combat that with Tai Chi. Physical illness, you could combat with Tai Chi. I'm not guaranteeing you'd live like an extremely long life, but it definitely pushes in that direction. Taoism has a kind of overemphasis on immortality and living an extremely long life and stuff, but really it's more about living a healthy life.
Is this a different kind of health benefit compared to what we spoke about in the Kung Fu episode? In the Kung Fu episode, you gave me an example about how the strength in my legs would be so much more sufficient where I could sit in a squat position without a stool beneath me, and that's a major health benefit. But Tai Chi, you seem to be referring to something a little bit different.
It's that plus something else is kind of... It's like why that movement of you sitting static could be useful in a Tai Chi thing. It would be more... You're dipping into the motion and then you're coming here and then you're dipping into the motion and doing it as slowly as you can. And the slower you do it, the harder it is on your legs. Okay. But you're still moving always. You're never in one static position. Whereas in Kung Fu, there are long periods of being in a static position, which comes from the Zazen, right? Mm-hmm. This sitting in this position in the full lotus, holding those positions, which you see in yoga as well. Tai Chi is always in motion.
It sounds like Tai Chi might make my body a little bit more flexible in the same way yoga does.
Yeah, it just looks easier than it is what I'll say. When you try it, you realize it's not as easy as it looks with your eyes.
So if I'm imagining Tai Chi as a form of self-defense, some kind of combat here, what I'm understanding is the method would be softness overcoming hardness. Right. So somebody is coming at me with quite severe force and I would just kind of gently brush them off in a way. Like, I'm probably using a really bad terminology here, but kind of like use their own force against them in a way.
Yeah, exactly. So you have in Japan judo, which means gentle way, which is like a more of a grappling and a throwing style. Whereas if you attack me and you're coming towards me, I'm going to use your own momentum to throw you down.
Okay.
And Tai Chi has a similar principle where, like, if you're going to punch me, like, try to punch me, I'm just going to, like, do like that and then attack you here. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
You're going through me, and I'm just like I'm like air or water.
Water,
Be
yeah,
water.
specifically, yeah.
But that's the idea. It's a gentle and graceful.
Presumably the timing would need to be pretty perfect there. Like, you're almost waiting for the exact moment that your opponent is off balance.
Well, this is what upsets me about Tai Chi, if I can just be candid.
Yeah.
It's like the representatives of Tai Chi only know Tai Chi, whereas if you had a mixed martial artist go and train Tai Chi for 6 months, they could probably go into a fight and they'd know how to do all the other stuff to defend themselves, yet they'd have a more like, there's like a pushing hand thing they do. And you could just use these pushes and these different techniques in tandem with the entirety of martial arts.
So it sounds like Tai Chi is kind of like an extra dimension that you can inject into
It could be, right?
Kung Fu or karate or whatever the case may be.
I've rarely seen it done, but personally I try to do that in my own style of martial arts, which it's like everyone when they spar has their own moves that they like to use or their own techniques that they fall back on, and like Tai Chi is just something that I use for myself to be in the moment when I'm sparring and in the flow of it. The flow is everything, dude, everything.
Yeah, I'm realizing that more and more as we apply Taoism to day-to-day life. There's always like a right timing to, I'm going a little bit off subject here, but just to kind of approach somebody or speak to somebody, you know, like in a working environment, say.
You feel it, right?
Yeah, you can just sense it, you know, and I don't know.
In tune with it.
When you're in tune with it, yeah. If you're not in tune with it and you're just purely coming from a place of ego and your own personal agenda or whatever it is you need to get done, you can very much go against the Tao and just kind of barge into what somebody else is talking about and just kind of...
the harder you try to force that.
Yeah, the more it comes back against you because you've created ripples around you.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like... Imagine that in a fight type setting, a combat setting. You're like, I'm going to knock this guy out with this exact punch that I want to do. If that punch isn't working in the moment and you just, like a dummy, just keep throwing it, and every time you throw it, bam, you get hit. Bam, you get hit. You're not in the flow. You're just forcing your ego. Yeah, so you can't do that. If I throw this and it doesn't work, I got to switch it up. And if that doesn't work, I got to be able to keep switching until I find that exact flow.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be have a sense of the environment around you and what your opponent is doing effectively. Yeah.
So like my experience in Tai Chi is very limited, admittedly, but the little that I've done has done so much. Like it's like an effect that you couldn't even compare. You couldn't even quantify it in numbers.
Oh wow, tell me more.
Well, I mean, I did one Tai Chi class for seniors in Canada.
Okay.
And I've done this Qigong video on YouTube and done that exercise a few times. And I just feel the benefits have been so massive. Like even the amount of energy, you could say chi, but just how I feel, like I don't get tired when I'm in that flow because the adrenaline or whatever, but also it's just like, I don't know, I don't need to know the chemistry of it, the dopamine and the I don't care about that. All I know is my chi is like on fire, like these Dragon Ball characters. Like when they're in the flow of the fight, their power level goes so far beyond.
Right, so that whole subject of channeling chi, it's almost literally like you're charging your body.
Yeah,
giving yourself more energy for whatever's next coming in the day. Like I understand there's an emphasis on a straight spine and abdominal breathing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's fair to say. Definitely, that's kind of the ground of it.
Like a foundation in order to get the breathing flowing and the chi flowing, as we spoke about.
That's how you always have to start your meditation in that sense. It's almost better to start in a very static position. The gentleman just stands upright with a straight spine, and he's sort of like swaying in the wind like a tree. And that's supposed to be the original form, like this straight up and down.
At the
And then you
beginning of the Tai
and then you
Chi,
start like this, right?
So you're building up chi just through your breath. So your big inhale and exhale, yeah?
Yeah, and then everything flows off of this, you see, and then this becomes this, and it all starts from that original position. A good example would be in Karate Kid. Did you see Karate Kid?
Yeah, I've seen Karate Kid.
Remember when he's on the boat and he's got to stand like in the horse stance on the boat?
Yeah.
And he's got to keep his balance, and then Miyagi's like shaking the boat, and then he flips him over.
Yeah.
That's trying to just stand still. Imagine you're on a boat and the boat is shaking in the sea, and the ocean is flowing, and you got to be able to just never lose balance in that. Never lose your calm. Never lose your breath. If you can do that, when you're sparring, you're not going to run out of breath. You're not going to get tired. You're going to be...
Yeah, it's going to give you more advantages just to kind of be able to hang in there in a fight physically, like a war of attrition in a way. Like you're almost just equipped to be there and continue, go one more round.
And you don't even feel like you're in a fight. Yeah. It's the art of fighting without fighting. That's what Bruce Lee said.
I get it, yeah. When you were just speaking about the beginning of the meditation, as you put it, starting with breathing, slowly building up to it before you begin making movements, it's really bringing me back to my yoga days. It was called Vinyasa Flow, the type of yoga that I enjoyed the most. And we always began in a sitting, in just the traditional sitting position. And it always began with the breathing, slow breathing, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Then you're gradually bringing your body into this shoulder movement, arm movements. And then at some point in the process, something has changed. And now it's big up and down movements and walking the dog. So I'm using these terms here. If you didn't do yoga, you might not know. But kind of one continuous flow that starts with just breathing and leads and builds up all the way to big up and down movements using the whole body.
Yeah, they're very similar in a lot of ways. There's even a Yin Yoga.
Yeah, I've done Yin Yoga actually. Yeah,
okay.
So that's the whole thing where it's the whole key is holding the position. So it's yoga, but instead of big flowing movements that I described with Vinyasa, you're in, say, one laying down position or one bent over position, for example, in long periods of time. And I guess it's a similar concept where you're kind of training your body to be in one spot, and there is a physical strain and the body is growing as a benefit.
Yin Yoga being the still position, right? Because it's like yin is as opposed to yin yang, so there is no flow. It's just the yin, right? So
that type of yoga. Yeah, like the yin is stillness, the yang is movement,
right?
And yin yoga, of course, yin translates to holding the position. Yeah. But so I just feel like I'm seeing so many similarities here between yoga and Tai Chi.
So you had your kind of kung fu experience with Shotokan.
Yeah.
And now you've had the yoga and the Tai Chi.
Yeah,
or the
absolutely.
Qigong.
Yeah.
So you have an actual experience with similar things.
Yeah, this whole thing I'm doing now, trying to figure out which martial art to dive into.
Yeah.
You're giving me a really good point of reference here.
Yeah.
Seeing similarities with karate and kung fu, and then seeing similarities between Tai Chi and yoga.
Makes it a lot easier for you, I guess.
Well, it's a good way to help me prepare for it. Types of meditation. There's sitting meditation, which gives an empty focus and calms the mind. And then you've got, say, a standing meditation that raises the chi. Can you speak to that at all? How the different positions have a different effect when you're meditating?
I think the equivalent to Zazen in Tai Chi or in Taoism would be something they call sitting and forgetting. So the idea being that as you meditate, you're just forgetting all your thoughts. As you go through your catalog in your mind, it's like just let it flow and flow and flow and flow and flow and flow until it's all empty. But when you're standing, now you're starting to head into that direction of maybe you're about to start a movement or whatever, but you have to like change your posture, change the alignment of the chakras, and change your energy and change how you're grounded. Your center of balance is higher. Things are starting to shift in a different a more outward direction. But again, it's all about the internal with the Tai Chi. But in order to move and to do Tai Chi, you must first be standing. It might not seem like much, but there is a difference between Zazen and Tai Chi, obviously. One guy is sitting there and he's not moving. Like the Buddha is not a moving Tai Chi guy. He's a... Maybe I could see Lao Tzu maybe did some Tai Chi. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it would make more sense. There are Taoist monks who did internal styles other than the guy that created Tai Chi. And Tai Chi has many forms. 5 families created their own Tai Chi and spread that. So there's like Yang style and...
Because Tai Chi was founded, correct me if I've got this wrong, in Chen Village, is that right?
As far as I know, it's Wudang Temple. Like, there's a place where Tai Chi reaches history and it becomes factual history. But the legend goes back further.
Right, I understand. The little bit of research I did before the show today was telling me that the village was called Chen Village, and then that there was 5 traditional schools that arose from this: Chen, Yang, Wu, Wu Hao, and the Sun.
Right, that's true. But I'm saying, like, there's a legend that goes back to Wudang and then back to Shaolin. Okay. And then from Shaolin back to India and Buddha.
Right, okay.
So this lineage does exist. How much of that is accurate is, like, beyond me to say, but it's beyond anyone to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so many of the subjects that we've discussed here on the Radiant Light podcast have been quite difficult to trace back to their original roots. I mean, we're talking about legendary things from thousands of years ago. That's, you know, even Lao Tzu himself, you said, was, you know, a legendary figure. Did he really exist in many ways, right?
It's that's what's kind of cool about it. But I mean, what I do know is that Tai Chi is something that anybody could try anytime, and like, why not, right?
When you say they could try this at any time, you just literally, I mean, the first thing that's coming to my mind is in my back garden, but maybe on a YouTube video, watch some examples.
That's all you gotta, that's really all you have to do. It's not something, there's no like initiation or something. It's not like a traditional martial art in that sense where there's the sensei or something like that. It's, I mean, there are professionals and there are masters and things, but it's really for the layman. It's for the average, like I said, old women are doing this in parks.
I was just going to come back to that as well. You said it's something very much catered for the elderly.
Yeah, and I think the female thing too, it's very more feminine. It's graceful, it's beautiful, it's soft, very soft. Men like this hard-hitting, I'm going to punch you harder than you punch me. And for me, martial arts has never been about that. Like, if you can hit me hard, what difference does it make if I'm smooth and you can't touch me? Like, honestly.
Well, we said right from the beginning here that Tai Chi is all about softness, overcoming hardness. Kind of backs up what you said there. Very graceful, very elegant.
Exactly.
Should we speak to a little bit more of the mental health benefits of Tai Chi? We kind of went on that right at the beginning of this episode, but it feels like Tai Chi would, like Taoism, give you a clear mind, more in tune with the universe around you.
I think it would probably benefit anybody if they give it an honest try.
What do you mean by an honest try?
Well, I guess now I could probably like share part of my experience with the Tai Chi.
Yeah, please.
So like about a year ago, I started getting into Taoism more. You and I started talking about Zen more. I read that Alan Watts book about Taoism, The Watercourse Way.
Yeah.
And he mentioned Tai Chi. And that was kind of like one of these things where I was like, as a Christian, should I be doing Tai Chi? And I was like, well, I'm already doing martial arts, right? Like, but you know how we've kind of separated the spiritual aspect from martial arts.
But why would your Christian faith be a blockage for you to experiment with Tai Chi?
Just because like Christians don't do Tai Chi, as far as I mean, some might, but it's not like taught.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? It's not like I've met a lot of people who are doing Tai Chi.
I see. So it was just, and you'd kind of put that label on yourself. Oh, I'm a Christian. I'm in this crowd. We don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I went through that mental dialogue with that, but it was kind of like part of letting go, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, forgetting. So it's just like, when you're doing Tai Chi, you are no longer a Christian, you are no longer Albert, you are no longer white, you are no longer Canadian, you are no longer 33 or 32 or whatever.
Yeah.
You are doing Tai Chi, and that is it. You are doing Tai Chi.
You're the Tai Chi guy.
Not even that. That's so egotistical. It's like you're in the fucking flow of that exact moment and that movement, and that's it. You're only just feeling that. That is Tai Chi. You forget everything else, and that is why it's so good for mental health, because it allows you, once you really can get into it, to let go of everything that's holding you back from being at peace.
Yeah, all those little egotistical things that are like playing on your mind, the thoughts that you're going over and over again that you probably would benefit from letting go of. Tai Chi is...
Imagine there's like a dam, right? And your chi is like this river, and this dam is like creating a lake of just like these thoughts that's just going around in a circle.
Okay.
And it's just like blocked. Remove that blockage and the river can flow again, and all those thoughts just pour out, and you just whoosh, like clouds or something. Just
okay. So
that's what Tai Chi is.
I get it. The negative thoughts are gone. You're back in the moment. You're back in the Zen.
Yeah, but you have to let go of that ego to do that, and that's why I'm saying you have to let go of all the stuff that you identify with. Even the image of I'm a Tai Chi guy, or I do Tai Chi, or any of that stuff. It's just like, it's just this movement, that movement, whatever.
Wow, we've spoken so much in previous episodes about Taoism as kind of like a mental tool to kind of get a person into the moment and letting go of all these distractions or egotistical thoughts that could be holding one back. And now it feels like with Tai Chi, we've got a physical action,
right,
or a physical tool that will enable us to get that same result.
And that's what it is. Like, that's the main reason why I believe Tai Chi is so amazing.
I must admit, I love the sound of Tai Chi.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really attracted to Tai Chi.
Yeah.
But it's quite ironic and quite funny in a way, because that does not solve it doesn't anyway. I might be wrong. My original problem of feeling like, oh no, I'm nearly a black belt but I can't fight, it's not addressing the main issue that I came to the table with, but I'm feeling massively attracted to it.
But
Funny
that's
how that
cool.
works.
Like, you might be able to kill two birds with one stone, though, because I think if you practice Tai Chi even a little bit before trying another martial art or something, it would free those blockages. All these blockages that you're talking about, this will, like, destroy those without even... You're not taking a hammer and bashing it. It's just like, poof, it's gone. You know what I mean?
In the same way that yoga does for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I love doing yoga, so yeah, I probably would enjoy going out in
the same box.
Yeah.
It's just pushing you more towards the martial arts, like a step closer to
that direction. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I love all the mental health benefits as well that we've addressed here in terms of Tai Chi, and I feel that links in very nicely with another mini-series that we're going to be working through here on the Radiant Light podcast. So simultaneously, we're going to be running the mental health mini-series along with the martial arts mini-series and discussing both of these topics at the same time. It's going to be great fun, Albert, right?
Yeah. I think there's lots of linkages we can create.
Well, definitely. I mean, we've even gone down that path today here with Tai Chi. It's been very much about mental health.
Yeah, it's like a bridge between the two worlds or something like.
Yeah. It's going to be fun to explore both subjects at the same time and run in these different directions that we've planned to. Until then, stay zen, my friend. Okay, that appears to be all we have time for on today's episode. Don't forget to like this episode and subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as whichever platform you listen to your podcasts on. And you can even follow us on Instagram too, radiant_light_podcast. And until next time, good night, God bless, and namaste.